Have you ever woken up with the feeling that you went somewhere real, but untraceable? Maybe you found yourself in a city that doesn't exist, yet felt oddly familiar. Or maybe you spoke to someone who's passed on, and the words they said still echo in your mind. You open your eyes and your room is the same, but you feel different. This isn't just your imagination running wild. What if I told you you may have traveled? Sleep isn't just rest, it's travel. Every night we cross the threshold between the waking world and something far less understood. We slip into dream states, yes, but what are those states? Are they just brain chemistry, or are they doorways, portals, echoes of other dimensions? Modern science can map the cycles of sleep, track theta waves, and observe the dreaming brain. But what it can't quite explain is why dreams feel so charged with meaning, why some dreams leave you energized and others leave you shattered, why we return from sleep with sudden wisdom we didn't consciously seek. In this video, we're going to explore the hidden realms you may be visiting each night, from healing chambers and cosmic classrooms to echoes of parallel lives and soul-level encounters. Because maybe, just maybe, when you lie down to sleep, your true self is just getting started. Ready to go deeper? Let's begin. So, what is sleep really? Biologists will tell you it's a time for the body to heal, for the brain to consolidate memory, and for hormones to reset. And while all of this is true, it doesn't explain the deeper mystery, the sense that sleep is not just a physical necessity, but a spiritual passage. Across ancient cultures, sleep was never just about rest. It was viewed as a sacred interval, a time when the soul disengages from the physical form and ventures into non-ordinary realms. Indigenous shamans, Egyptian priests, yogic mystics, they all spoke of sleep as a time when we return to the source, receive teachings, and even fulfill duties in other planes of existence. Let's take a look at what happens just before sleep sets in. As you drift off, your brain begins to slow down. You move from beta waves, the waking state, into alpha, and then into theta waves. Theta is a dreamy, liminal frequency, the state between waking and sleeping, the place of hypnagogic imagery and intuitive downloads. It's in this frequency that the doors to the subconscious fling wide open. But there's more to it than brainwaves. Esoteric traditions believe the pineal gland, often called the third eye, plays a key role in dream travel. Located deep within the center of the brain, the pineal gland produces melatonin to regulate sleep. Yes, but it's also rich in DMT, a molecule associated with mystical experience. Some spiritual scientists believe that as the pineal activates during sleep, it acts as a transmitter, allowing consciousness to tune into higher dimensions, much like a radio finds frequencies. Now, here's where things get even more fascinating. When we sleep, the energetic body, often called the astral body, is believed to partially detach from the physical shell. This isn't death, and it's not unconsciousness. It's a loosening of the soul's tether to the physical world. In that state, the soul is free to explore realms that vibrate at frequencies our physical eyes cannot perceive. Some people call it the astral plane. Others refer to it as the soul realm, the dream time, or simply the other side. What are these realms? Think of them as layers of reality, not up in the clouds, but woven into the very fabric of existence, coexisting alongside the material world. Just as we can't see Wi-Fi signals or radio waves without the right receiver, we can't normally access these realms without shifting our state of consciousness. Sleep gives us that shift. And why do we go there? Well, the soul has its reasons. In dreams, we may meet guides, ancestors, or fragments of our own higher self. We may receive healing, resolve karmic entanglements, or undergo training. Many spiritual teachers speak of night school, a kind of astral education where souls go to learn between incarnations, or to receive lessons relevant to this life. Others believe we engage in service, helping lost souls, preparing energy grids, or assisting collective evolution, all while our physical body lies asleep. And this isn't just spiritual stuff. Have you ever woken up and felt like you've been through something intense? Not emotionally, but energetically. That feeling of having worked hard all night, even though you were unconscious, that's often a clue. Modern sleep science can't fully explain these phenomena, but quantum physics is beginning to catch up. Ideas like non-local consciousness and parallel dimensions suggest that consciousness isn't trapped inside the brain. It may be more like a field that uses the brain, but is capable of existing independently. Sleep may be the space where that independence is most fluid, most natural. And here's a gentle reminder: sleep isn't the opposite of wakefulness. It's a different kind of awareness altogether. So, when you tuck yourself in at night, you're not just closing your eyes to shut down. You may be opening your inner eyes to remember who you really are, far beyond your name, your job, your thoughts, or even this lifetime. As we move on, we will explore where exactly you may be going, the places, the dreamscapes, and the hidden zones your soul might be exploring while the world around you sleeps. Stick with me, this is where it starts to get really interesting. So, now that we've explored why we might be dream traveling each night, let's talk about where we're actually going. Because if sleep opens the gates between dimensions, then what lies beyond those gates? First, we have the dreamscapes, those strange fluid worlds that don't always follow the rules of time or logic. You might find yourself walking through a version of your childhood home that's suddenly underwater, or flying through a city made entirely of glass and light. These are not just random inventions of your subconscious. Many dream workers and spiritual explorers believe that dreamscapes are personalized constructs, a blend of your inner symbolic language and the subtle energies you interact with nightly. Think of dreamscapes as staging grounds, entry points into deeper, more stable realms. Some nights you may find yourself in places that feel more structured, not surreal or shifting, but purposeful. These are often described as night schools or temples of learning. Many who've had lucid dreams or near-death experiences report visiting rooms filled with light beings, massive libraries, or halls of mirrors where they're shown scenes from their life. These aren't just metaphors, they may be energetic blueprints, places where souls gather to study lessons not bound by earthly time. One such realm is said to be the Akashic Plane, a timeless dimension where every thought, action, and possibility is recorded. If the universe has a memory, this is it. Visiting the Akashic records in dreams may feel like being pulled into a vast archive, or sitting with a guide who gently reveals things to you, things you didn't know you needed to know. You may not consciously recall the details, but you might wake up with a deep sense of clarity, like something unresolved has quietly clicked into place. Then there are the healing chambers, and this might be one of the most beautiful forms of dream travel. These are spaces where your energy body is soothed, realigned, even repaired. Picture glowing beds of light, beings with calming frequencies, working on you with color, sound, or intention. If you've ever gone to sleep feeling emotionally shredded and woken up with unexpected peace, not just rested, but renewed, you may have spent time in one of these healing spaces. Another fascinating realm is the one of parallel lives. Yes, according to some theories, you are not just you. You are a multi-dimensional being with countless versions of yourself playing out different timelines. Some dreams feel like this: you're you, but the details are different. Your relationships, job, or even your personality might be slightly off. You may wake up with the eerie feeling that you are watching another version of your life unfold. That might be exactly what was happening. And let's not forget the soul realm, a place many describe as home. This is not so much a destination, but a state of consciousness where you reconnect with your true self, beyond personality or form. Some describe it as a vast starry still. Others recall glowing gardens, councils of light, or sacred geometry swirling in space. The details vary, but the feeling is always the same: love, clarity, belonging. Sometimes these places are symbolic, sometimes they are literal on an energetic level. But either way, they are real to your soul, and they carry meaning that ripples into your waking life. Through sudden insights, healed emotions, or even the uncanny feeling that you're not walking through the day alone. Remember, these places aren't far away. They're nested within the field of consciousness itself, accessible not just in sleep, but in deep meditation, trance, and sometimes spontaneous flashes of intuition. So the next time you wake up with a vivid dream or a strange sense that you've been somewhere, trust it. You might not remember the details, but your soul does. Coming up next, we'll explore how to know whether you've actually traveled, the signs that something more happened during the night than just a cycle of REM sleep. Because dream travel doesn't always come with a boarding pass, but there are clues if you know where to look. Now, one key thing you need to know is that not every dream is a journey. However, when you do travel, your body and mind often leave breadcrumbs. The signs are subtle at first, they don't scream at you, but once you know what to look for, they begin to reveal a pattern, a language of the soul trying to speak through the everyday. The most common sign, unexplainable exhaustion, even after a full night's sleep. You go to bed early, sleep for 8 or 9 hours, but still wake up feeling like you ran a marathon. Your body aches, your mind feels like it's been working overtime. It doesn't make sense unless you consider that a part of you may have been deeply active in another plane, healing, learning, assisting, traveling. This kind of exhaustion is different from sleep deprivation. It has a weight to it, like your consciousness was moving through denser realities. Some spiritual teachers describe it as a service fatigue, the weariness that comes from having done important work on an energetic level, even if you don't consciously remember it. Another clue is missing time, those strange moments when you look at the clock and hours have passed, but you only remember fragments. This can happen not just during dreams, but even during short naps or meditative states. You close your eyes for a minute and then suddenly it's 2 hours later, but you wake up with no clear dream, just a heavy feeling that something happened. Then there are wisdom downloads, sudden insights or bursts of knowledge that seem to arrive out of nowhere. You wake up and just know something, a solution to a problem, a new creative idea, or an emotional truth you hadn't seen clearly before. It's as if the puzzle pieces rearrange themselves overnight. Sometimes these downloads arrive without dreams. Other times they're wrapped in vivid images or symbols. A conversation with a glowing figure, a journey through a surreal landscape, or a word or phrase that repeats over and over. These are not just figments of imagination, they are messages delivered in the language of the soul. Sudden emotional shifts can also be a sign. You go to bed overwhelmed, anxious, or even heartbroken, and wake up feeling mysteriously calm, like something inside you has been soothed. This is especially common after visiting healing chambers or reconnecting with guides or ancestors during dream time. Pay attention to those emotional resets. They're often a sign that your higher self is working through your healing in ways your conscious mind doesn't yet grasp. You might also notice changes in perception, moments when the world just feels different. Colors seem sharper, people's emotions feel more transparent. Synchronicities start piling up, like the universe is suddenly speaking in stereo. This heightened sensitivity can be a ripple effect of having accessed higher frequencies during your sleep state. And here's a fun one, waking up with someone else's energy in your space. Maybe you feel the presence of a loved one who's passed, or you wake up thinking intensely about a person you haven't seen in years. These encounters may not be random. It's possible your soul linked with theirs during the night to resolve karma, offer support, or simply reconnect. Some travelers even report dream injuries, minor unexplained aches or marks that line up with dream events. While this is more rare and highly debated, it points to just how thin the veil might be between what we consider real and what we consider just a dream. Finally, one of the clearest signs of all, clarity. Not just intellectual clarity, but soul clarity, the kind that shifts your whole being. You wake up and know something has changed. You can't put it into words, but the feeling lingers. It shapes how you speak, how you make decisions, how you move through your day. So the next time you wake up feeling like you've been somewhere, trust that instinct. Look at how you feel, what you remember, and how the world feels in your body the moment you open your eyes. Your dreams may not leave a map, but they always leave a trace. But how do you interpret these traces? You know, even if your dreams come dressed in symbols, they are speaking directly to you. And learning to listen is a skill worth mastering. So the next time you wake up feeling like you've been somewhere, trust that instinct. Look at how you feel, what you remember, and how the world feels in your body the moment you open your eyes. Because your dreams may not leave a map, but they always leave a trace. And once you learn to read that trace, everything changes. Interpreting dreams isn't about cracking some magical code or memorizing what every symbol means in a dictionary. It's about learning your soul's unique language. It's personal, intuitive, and layered with metaphor. Symbols are the vocabulary of the subconscious, and dream travel messages are often cloaked in that symbolic form, not to confuse you but to bypass your logical mind and speak directly to your inner self. Let's start with a simple truth. Not all dreams are literal. In fact, most of them aren't. You may dream of drowning and wake up gasping, not because you're in danger, but because you're emotionally overwhelmed in waking life. You may dream of flying, not because you're destined to sprout wings, but because your soul is longing for freedom. Water, fight, fire, falling. These are archetypes, mirrors reflecting what's moving beneath the surface of your waking mind. But how do you know what the symbols mean for you? That's where dream journaling comes in. Keeping a journal by your bed and writing down your dreams, even fragments, is one of the most powerful tools for decoding your soul's messages. Over time, you'll start to see patterns. Maybe dogs always appear when you're facing a loyalty issue. Maybe trains show up when you're standing at a life crossroads. Your subconscious uses repetition and rhythm. It's not random, it's poetic. And you don't need to be a lucid dreamer to benefit from this practice. Just the act of writing signals to your higher self that you're ready to receive, that you're listening. The more you pay attention, the louder the messages become. Another technique, ask your dreams questions. Before you go to sleep, write a question in your journal, something you truly want guidance on. It could be as deep as, what is my soul's purpose? Or as specific as, why do I feel stuck in this relationship? Close your eyes with the intention of receiving an answer. You may not get it that night, but sooner or later it comes. Sometimes through a dream, sometimes as a strong feeling when you wake up, or even as a sudden knowing days later. The key is to ask, observe, and trust. Now, here's something that often gets overlooked. Speaking to your dream self, that version of you who roams the hidden realms while your body sleeps. This self isn't bound by fear or logic. It remembers things your waking mind has forgotten. You can build a relationship with it. How? Start by addressing it in your journal entries. Thank you for the dream last night. What were you trying to show me? You can even give your dream self a name if it helps make the connection feel more real. The more you engage with it, the more integrated your dream and waking lives become. Over time, you may notice a shift. Instead of your dreams feeling like foreign movies you barely remember, they'll begin to feel like conversations, experiences, guidance, sometimes even missions. And here's the wild part. Some dreams aren't for you at all. You may be acting as a conduit for someone else's healing or receiving messages meant to be passed on. That's why sharing your dreams, especially the powerful ones with trusted friends or spiritual mentors, can unlock even deeper insights. Sometimes someone else's perspective shines a light you didn't even know you needed. But perhaps the most important thing to remember is this. You don't need to analyze every detail or get it right. Dream interpretation isn't about perfection, it's about presence. It's about honoring that something within you is reaching out across dimensions, across lifetimes, trying to guide you home. Because when you start listening, really listening, you begin to remember not just the dream, but yourself. Now, take note of this. When the body rests, the soul remembers. Every night, you slip through the veil, not to escape this world, but to reconnect with something deeper. You're not just dreaming, you're returning to wisdom, to healing, to the infinite. So the next time you close your eyes, don't just fall asleep. Lean in, ask, listen, travel with intention. Because your dreams aren't random, they're sacred echoes of who you truly are. And somewhere in the hidden realms beyond thought and form, you are already awake.